Good morning and welcome back to the channel of Lifeboat Hygge. Today we're doing something completely different. As you can see, this is Storm. She's a gaff rigged yacht and it belongs to Mr. Ian Clark, who's just stepping off the boat. We're getting ready to do a couple of hours sailing before winter hits us. It's a lovely day, as you can see. I hope you enjoy. We're just running the engine up before we are going to make sure everything's all right. The cooling is working because there's water coming out of the exhaust. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this because it is a lovely day today. And there's just a little bit of breeze, nothing too horrible. So hopefully I'll get you a chance to show you something of the backwaters. This is the owner, Ian Clark. Tell me something about your boat, please, sir.
This is Storm, and she was built in 1910. She's a gaff cutter, and she's what is called a Bawley yacht. Bawleys are lower Thames fishing boats, typically without booms, but this one always had a boom.
So what's the reason for not having a boom then?
For Bawleys, they were very good for brailing up the sails and fishing or going slower for the fishing. So
right.
You could control the speed very easily by brailing the sail.
I think that jib wants a bit more attention, to be honest.
Originally, many people have said that because Storm was featured in several books, mainly Magic the Swatchways and 10 Small Yachts by Maurice Griffiths, and he said that when it was built, it was being built as a small Bawley, and the yachtsman came along and said, can you finish it out as a yacht? And Maurice Griffiths owned it for two very short periods, in 1924 and 1930/1931. And a real enthusiast bought it in 1962, and he had that story and said that story, or told that story several times. Now, with the age of information, I strongly believe that might be wrong, and the reason is that there were, in the Lloyd's Register, just pre-war, pre-First World War, there were several sister boats of Storm, like 4 or 5 sister boats. It's exactly the same dimension. So I think they were building these boats as yachts.
Right, and in series.
Yeah, and surprisingly, for she's slow, heavy build, that sort of thing. When she was built, she was sold only a year after she was built and advertised in 1911 as the well-known racer cruiser.
All right.
And I've managed to find race results and reports in the local papers about, you know, sailing from Leigh-on-Sea into the Medway and back, and coming second, coming first, that sort of thing. And that's what she was used for. And surprisingly, in the mid-1930s, again, the guy who bought it from Maurice Griffiths similarly used it for racing. In the early roundy Isle of Wight races, where she never seems to finish, she always seems to not a non-finisher, but that's what she's used for. We cannot find anything about her between 1937 and 1962, when David Cade bought her in Fareham. And David and his family owned her for well over 50 years. David was the newsletter secretary of the Old Gaffers, he was the secretary of the Old Gaffers, and he was a very long-term president of the Old Gaffers. And he obviously loved the boat, and I'm sure the fact that he loved the boat so much is the reason why she's still around. Otherwise she would have long gone. So that's cool.
Now we're getting a proper sail on, a bit of a heel. Sorry?
5-4.
There we go. Whoop, whoop. That's what I'd say. Oh man.